And bye, Miss American Pie. Drove my Chevy to the levee, but the levee was dry. And the good old boys drinking whiskey and rye, singing, "This'll be the day that I die." The day the music died. You know what? That is so appropriate because normally I play a song here, but I can't because YouTube is now blocking me from playing songs. So today is the day that the Spiel music has died. All right, part 3, Pacman Lesson 2. Here we go. All right, so this is from 3 different video spiels. I put it all in one, but I can be so efficient. I can do that. Here's the big idea. We're going to make a new class that's going to run the animation. We're going to add frameworks using the using statement so that we can use existing stuff, and then we're going to make a texture atlas. If you don't know what a texture atlas is, you will find out. Okay, so let's say that we were doing Space Invaders and we wanted our guy to go from this to this to this to this. We would want to have multiple versions of our picture at different stages of the walk, like below. Or for Pac-Man, he's open, close, right? We need different versions of our guy. Okay, to do this, we could have individual images. Okay, we can make a texture at each of the different stages that we want, and then draw the right one at the right time using totally different images. However, having all of these little textures as separate files can be very inefficient. Often it is more efficient to put all of these various textures together into one big texture like this. This is called a texture atlas. Okay? And so you just load it once and then you use it. But obviously you don't want to show the whole thing at once. You want to show just a little section of it. And we're going to figure out how to do that. Okay, what is a texture? What is a texture atlas? Why do we use a texture atlas instead of using a separate texture at each stage of walking? Write it down. Okay, so the texture atlas we looked at, that's not the one we're going to use, but that one we just looked at contains 16 different frames of our character walking. Frame 1 is in the top left corner, and the frames go across and then down, okay, as shown below. So you could do it like this, or you could just do it straight across. There's different ways to do it, okay? Alright, we need to have a class that will animate our object. So we basically need a class that will be able to look at this thing and say, hey, I want to use this rectangle here, and then this one, and then this one, and then this one, all the way to 16, and then back here. So we need a class that will handle that for us. So we're going to make a new class called animation.cs. So you're going to go project add class, and then we're going to add the using statements from objects to animation. And then we're going to add these private variables. Alright, so let's take a look at what that's going to look like. So we're going to start off at objects. Okay, we're going to copy the using statements from objects. We're going to go project. We're going to go project. We're going to project. We're going to add a class, and we're going to call it animation.cs. Okay, and we're going to add the using statements at the top. We're going to paste the using statements, so we're going to have using statements that look like this. All right, and then you're going to have your namespace should be the same as all your other things. We have class animation, and then we're going to have the private variables like this. Okay. Okay, so next we're going to do public variables. Okay, so you're going to add public variables like this. Okay, so we have our private variables and our public variables. By the way, so we know at this point you should know that these can be used by everybody, and these can just be used by the animation class. But take a look at things that go in the public ones. Well, we'll talk about that later. Okay, so let's go back to our PowerPoint. So we added our private variables, we added these public variables, okay, and then next we're going to add the draw method to animation CS. Okay, so here's the draw method. Okay, so if you go back to here, you're going to see that you have private, public, and then we're going to add this draw method here. Okay. something's wrong with this. I'm gonna have to fix this later. This all should be part of draw. So I did something goofy. Well, anyway, we'll fix that later too. Okay, so we're gonna add this code to draw. Okay. Okay, so use the texture atlas for Pacman. So at this point, we have to add a texture atlas for Pacman. Okay, and so this file will be, I'll have this available for you on the website. Okay, but basically what you're going to do is you're going to add in Pacman to your sprites. So if I go to, I'm going to add him with a different name. So we already have one picture of Pacman, but I made this thing called Pac Texture Atlas. Okay, I don't know if I made it. I got it somewhere, but I'll give it to you. So we'll open that up and see what that looks like. But add that to your files, right? Okay, so once we add that, let's see, let's go back to our power. Oh, there we go. So that's the one I use right there. So you have Pacman in various stages of openness. So he goes from this to this to this. So he's open, close, anyway. So there you have it. Alright, let's go see back to the PowerPoint. Okay, so use the texture atlas for Pacman and add the animation variable to Pacman and the walking variable to Pacman. Alright, so now we've been in the animation class. Now we're going to open up the Pacman class. And so we made this thing called animation, right? And so we have to add an animation to Pacman. Okay, so you're going to say, hey, I want to make a guy named Pacman Animation, and he's going to be an animation. So now Pacman holds his own animation class, and he can do all the stuff in there. Okay, and then if you hadn't already done this, private bool walking. So we basically have to tell the animation, hey, is he animating? Is he walking or not walking? Because if he's walking, we're going to animate him. If he's not walking, we're not going to animate him. All right, so let's take a look at what that's going to look like. So we're going to open up our Pacman class, and we're going to add so we're going to open up our Pacman, and so we're going to open up our Pacman class, and we're going to go to the private variables, and you're going to add this and this to our private variables. Set the walking flag. Set the walking flag in the update method of Pacman. So walking equals false. So basically, if you're not, using the keyboard or the controller, then he's not walking anymore. Okay, so let's go back to Pacman, and we're going to go to the update method, and you can see we set walking as false. You might have already done that. And we do the same thing, and you might have already done this, but in all of these we set walking to true, so that this basically indicates to the animation that, hey, he should be animated. Okay, so go through all those and set that. Okay, and add this to the constructor Pacman. Create the animation Pacman animation equals new animation. Alright, so we've got to add this code to the constructor of Pacman. It's going to look a little something like this. We're going to find our constructor. Where are we at? We're in Pacman. There we go. So here's our constructor. So we're going to add where is it at? Oh yeah, Pacman equals Pacman. Okay, so we have our animation we're going to be using. All right, here we go, and I'll keep going. All right, add the load. Okay, so add the load content method to Pacman. Now check this out. So we already have a load content method in the objects class, right? So we have to write it public override void load content. So it's basically saying, hey, I know that there's already a load content method in objects, and I am an object, but I want to do this more specific one. Okay, now this is where we're actually using the texture. This is the thing that's actually doing all the stuff we talked about using the texture atlas. Okay, so look at this code and figure out what to do. Okay, so basically what you need to do is you have in Pacman you add this load content method. Okay, so update the update method in Pacman. Add this code to the update method in Pacman. Okay, so you have to tell the position of the animation and the update. Okay, so we're going to add some of that to the update method in Pacman. So we're going to go to Pacman. We're going to go to load content, and now your load content should look like this. Because look at all this information we're sending to it. So basically we're talking to the animation now, and so you're going to say, hey, here's the texture I want, which is going to be the new texture atlas, where it's located on the screen, and then all this stuff is telling you how to divide that thing up into sections so that you can use it, right? So you're going to break it up into that grid so you can use different sections of your texture atlas. Okay, so overriding. Okay, so I just talked about overriding, and so here's specifically what it is. Okay, Pacman and the ghosts know how to draw because they are objects, and objects already know how to draw. But now we want the Pacman to draw a little more specifically so it can use the texture atlas. So we're going to write him his own draw method. So we use the override keyword when we want to use the method with the same name in the subclass instead of the superclass. Write that down. That's a note. Okay, so we're going to add the draw method to Pacman, and you're going to use this public virtual void draw. Okay, so in the same way we overrode the load content, we're going to add this draw method to our Pacman, and it's going to look a little something like that. Okay, file, save all, and save all the files and classes and start debugging. Before you do this, I want to double check and make sure you have everything you need. So let's go. It seems like I might have skipped something somewhere. So let's double check here and make sure that for your animation, so make sure your animation looks like this. Okay, so you should have the private variables, the public variables. You should have the initialization. Looks like we might have skipped that. That might have got deleted somewhere from my spiel. Okay, so there's the initialize. Make sure you have the update. It should look like that. And then your draw method. So make sure everything looks like that. Okay, so once you have all that, and you've added the correct Pacman, and then the other thing we need to do is let's go to items, and then you've got to go to items, and you have to change the pack texture atlas to this new thing that we've added, right? So we have this new picture, we have to change it in items. Okay. All right, so then when you've done all that, then you can run it and see what you get. Still waiting patiently here. We'll get it. Alright, so you should be able to have that Pacman animated, and then quiz part 3, what is overriding? And here we go. Here's what your Pacman should look like now. When you run it, he should be animated like that. Okay. That's it.